stop, reflect, think, then act. Just the way of saying that does some work right there. It does kind of put you in the mind to take a look at whatever needs looking at. And so let's just rewind a little. Like you said, E plus R equals O. Okay. And where is this all stemming from? It's a formula tied into take 100% responsibility for your life and your outcomes. And 100% is a lot more than 99%, because in that 1% that I'm either blaming, complaining, justifying, rationalizing, defending my position, or making an excuse, that 1% could create some serious struggle in my life. So 100 and act as if everything that happens throughout my day is I am responsible for. And what does it mean? It really means, to me, it means that I have the ability to respond to the events in my life, to the stimulus in my life. And that's on me. And it's when things are that axiom of when I am disturbed, instead of pointing fingers or trying to look outside of me to fix that reason, I look inside. And how do I do that? With these formulas, with stopping, reflecting on, thinking about, then taking action. And we live in a I don't do, or I do because of I feel. We live in a, I didn't feel like doing that. Oh, I really felt like doing that. Or, yeah, today I'm just not feeling it. Feeling what? Feeling the motivation to do something that I would rather do something easier. And so I look at these things, and I started out with a formula. What's amazing in the beginning was I had an aha moment. Wait a minute. The outcomes, things aren't working. Maybe not so much things aren't working. I'm not feeling connected. I'm not feeling content. I'm not feeling comfortable in my own skin. I'm blaming. I find myself complaining at times. I'm rationalizing my behavior. I'm making excuses. And, in the moment, sometimes it feels okay. Does it really? No. But in the moment, it's like, well, the reason is, and here it is. And the person buys it. And it's like, okay, well, I can move on from that. But I can't. I kind of bring that along with me. And I chose to go back through my life and look at things. And I got taught a big lesson because I put myself out there. I wanted change. I wanted growth in my life. I wanted to understand this game of life is getting harder and harder, not easier as I get older. What am I doing wrong? Or maybe not so much what am I doing wrong? What am I not seeing? What do I not know that I can have better outcomes? So when I explained this situation at a conference to the leader, Jack Canfield, and he made me talk, and he brought all that back. Like, so, you don't want to come back to our conference. You didn't want to ask for help. You didn't feel like you fit in. You thought everybody here was smarter than you. I'm like, no, I didn't think that. I already know it. Like, I believe that. And he's like, okay, and how's that working for you? Don't be pulling a Dr. Phil on me. And, anyway, and he's like, so how long have you been bringing this mindset, this baggage along with you throughout life? I said, my whole life. And again, it seems that the outcome isn't really working. So you're blaming the event. You're blaming the way we set up this conference. You're blaming the way you have to get your name badge. You're blaming the seating in the room. You're blaming the people around you because it's not fair. They can see better than you. And I'm like, yeah, okay, now why don't you just tell me how big of a loser I am in front of everybody? But that wasn't the point. The point was he's trying to have me see within me how I do this in all things, not just going to events. And that was very much stepping outside of my comfort zone. But it could be in a store. Nobody, I don't ask for help because nobody gets it. They don't know how to help me the right way. And he said, there's a chip. You have a chip on your shoulder and you need to peel back that onion, but I'm going to suspect that it has something to do with your legal blindness. Event number one, I've been carrying for most of my life at that time the fact that I'm not as good, I'm less than, and I don't compete as well with sighted world. Even though I had a successful business, even though things were going good in my life, even though a newspaper might want to write an article on me and say all this nice stuff, and I would still say, I'm uncomfortable with somebody reading that to me. It's like, yeah, but I don't know, something was off. There was this feeling of life that wasn't working. So I said, wow, it's this belief that I need to have good eyesight to not feel like my skin is on fire, to feel more contented and things like that. So we went through and he said, is it possible you could change that story? Yes. Is it possible that people might want to help you throughout life and the place around? Yes. Is it possible that people might want help from you? Yes, and I love doing that, but I don't ask for it because I don't receive it that well. So this was the beginning of my taking responsibility, having the ability to respond to the way I felt, to the outcomes of my life. And then a formula that each event, I have the ability to respond to that event in a way that will help me to see the outcome I got wasn't the one I wanted. How can I respond to the event so I can go to the next event with a clearer head? And that's what I started doing. So the first thing for me, for all of us, was the awareness that I have the ability to do something about the way I think, the way I feel, and the way I behave. It's actually think, behave, feel, but I have that ability. And I think all of us can agree that our thinking has quite a bit to do with our life, the quality of our life, right? Because I don't have people thinking for me. I do sometimes, but I don't listen. I'm in charge of that. I'm the one who made these choices and decisions in my life that got me to where I am. Okay, that's a bit to swallow too. But when I did and realized, oh, okay, so if I wanted a different outcome, I could make different decisions. So now I'm more clear. I see that I have the ability to respond, to think things through, and not always act from a place of feeling. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like going in the other room and talking to my daughter. I don't feel like, it's like, oh my gosh, I started recognizing that if I can't think greater than I feel, I'm in a lot of trouble. Because if successful people who thrive, don't base their decisions, their choices in life just on how they feel. If they did, they would not be doing too well. I know, because I did that for a while. So then we talked about stimulus and a response to that stimulus in our life. Because if you think about it, and this is where I benefit from low vision, legal blindness and all. Because the stimulus is, I don't have the millions of billboards and internet messages and all of that in my stimulus all day long. Sure, I can hear it. I can go into places, or, I work hard. On my computer, I shut down all that stuff, so you can't market to me without my permission, and cookies and all this stuff. I worked hard on that to lower the amount of stimulus, because once we get a lot of stimulus and we start reacting, or we get upset and we start blaming, I needed to take a look at that. So, and in between that, the date of somebody born, there's a year, and then a dash, and then a year. And that dash represents a lot in life. And it's the same with the word. I started looking at stimulus dash response. And it's in that space is where I got to stop. I reflect. I can think about. And then I can take some action. Or do nothing. Sometimes restraint of pen, tongue, and text is the best action. Do nothing. So, but I don't know. I gotta get even. No, maybe not even, but I gotta teach. I gotta be right. It's like, when I found that I had more energy and things just started, focus on what I like about people, appreciate myself and others around me. It's like the whole world started to shift as I realized I had the ability to respond to people, to the way people were acting. It's not my job to fix them. Not my job to judge if they're doing it right. Because when I judge, I am also the jury. And I'm the executioner. So I say he or she should or shouldn't. That's wrong. And you should be cast out. So I don't do that as much. Why? Because that never felt good. This is all about outcome. This is all about think, act, behave, feel. If we're in charge of that, which we are, there's 3 things that we have 100% complete control over in our lives. It's the visions that we hold, our dreaming on, I'm in charge of the mind's eye. How I think, I'm in charge of. It doesn't mean that I have thoughts that come to me, for sure. I have thoughts that come to me, and it's like, do I believe them, first of all? And especially the TV and all the nonsense, do I believe that? But I have the ability to think things through, to ask other questions. Does this align? Does this make sense? Will this help both parties involved? It's like, I could not have thought of all that. But once I release the I'm right, or I'm not good enough, or, all that stuff in my life, when I started releasing it and stepping back and thinking, that's a power. I actually have the power to control the destiny, the outcomes in my life. It's not what can I get from this occasion. It's what can I bring to it. Because what I'm looking for is peace and happiness and a sense of direction and connectedness. And I can get that by being of service, but not by showing up and going, I'm here, everyone. Make me feel better. That is not the role. Like, and I remember saying to my wife, you don't make me happy. She's like, oh, great. This is going to be a wonderful talk. And I said, well, let me rephrase that. I guess I didn't think that one through. I said, I don't expect for you to act or be or do in a certain way so I feel happy. It's not your job to make me happy, because that would be an impossible job. If my wife came in, this is what selfishness looks like. If she came in and she had a day, kind of like Kristen's Monday was kicking off. One of those days, we have them. But, before they get away from us and we start knocking things over in the house and we can stop, reflect, think, then act. So she might come in and have a bit of a mellow tone. And I think, what did I do wrong? She shouldn't be treating me this way. I didn't do anything to her. What's going on? This is an event, right? So what am I doing? I'm blaming her for her not making me. I'm blaming her for that I don't feel comfortable, that she's in a mood. She's had a bad day. I didn't ask. I just assume when you walk in, you should be nice and say, hi, I'm home from work. Well, that isn't reality all the time with people. But in my world, I take it personal. Well, I didn't even see her. What could I have done today? It's like, and then it's like, it's not about you. She had a tough day. Don't jump all over her. Don't try to figure it out. And the biggest one, don't try to fix it. I love fixing. And I learned how to be a better partner. And because of that, my happiness rose, her happiness rises, and then we're happy. I don't need her to make me happy. She doesn't need me to make. But man, when that union comes together in business, in life, in relationships, and growing, it makes all this work worth it. It works if you work it.